Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. And like I mentioned yesterday, we are going to go over a little bit of my story so you see where I'm coming from, where my nutrition and exercise philosophy that I really kind of practice today is coming from. What's the backstory? Why are the things the way they are? Because I really care about your health. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about like where this is coming from. Why is that health component so important for me? Because there are a lot of coaches who will tell you that, just work hard, eat less, do this, do that, work out even if you're tired. And I'm not that coach. And I'm going to show you exactly why this is the case. So today is part 2 of our 4-part mini series, Get to Know Me. All right, so last time we finished with how I was an athlete in high school, first year of college, but then things shifted. And today we're going to talk about how I actually got really unhealthy after a period of time of gaining weight. Okay, so let's get started with the weight gain story. And some of you who have followed me for a longer time have already heard this, but maybe you have not heard all the details. And those of you who are totally new here, welcome. And I'm going to share my story. So what happened the first year of my college, second year of my college was that because I stopped doing track and field, and I was not nearly as active anymore as I had been before, and for a couple of other reasons, I gained quite a bit of weight. Also, I was working at a restaurant all weekends. I had long Saturdays, long Sundays, and of course there, all the food was available. Eat as much as you can, all the good things that they tried out or they made, and there's always leftovers, and there's always cakes and meats and all that kind of good stuff. And that's why I always now, as a macro coach, telling my clients like, yeah, you don't realize how much fat is actually in restaurant foods because I've seen it really close. So everything is cooked in very, very high fat. And so I also got my first car. I started driving everywhere. I wasn't doing track and field. I wasn't walking as much. I was working at a restaurant. And also I felt pretty homesick in my new town, although it wasn't even that far from my hometown. I've always been just very introverted, and changes like that have been hard. Not later in life, I've gotten so much better, but then it was difficult. So I was sitting in my teeny tiny room that I rented at a time, and I was eating chocolate literally every single night. I was really sad and really depressed and missed home. And as a result, I gained about 15 kilograms or 30 pounds. And that was a little bit shocking. Of course, it didn't come on overnight. It never does. But I remember sometimes looking at myself in the mirror, be like, oh my goodness, like I don't fit in those clothes anymore. And then I remember working at the restaurant, and the skirt and the uniform that we had, it was starting to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And for the first time in my life, when I got on the scale, I saw a really high number, and I didn't love that at all. And I was like, what happened to me? How did I let that happen? Because like I mentioned in my previous episode, I have been really athletic all the time, never had been worried about my weight or the calories or anything like that. And now I just felt so out of shape. I didn't feel like myself. I felt like it's somebody else. And how did I let this happen? And I didn't love it at all. I decided I was super determined to lose that weight, and I did it really successfully. Again, there comes your perfectionist Gettyston. Let's do it, and let's do it better than planned. So I joined the Weight Watchers, and I became the superstar of our group, because literally every single week over the course of the next 5 months that I was there, I lost weight. So there's weigh-ins every single time you go to that group meeting. And I think there's maybe 1 or 2 times when my weight had remained exactly the same, but I never gained anything, never. And I remember when other people like, oh yeah, I kind of slipped, or I had this cake and I overate in the weekend. And I was always thinking, what's more important to you? Isn't weight loss more important to you than this piece of cake? Like in my perfectionist mind, it was completely it's like impossible to understand how come you don't control yourself? What is this thing? And so I lost all the weight, and I lost a little bit more even than what I had gained. And I also had started running. So I figured that running burns the most calories, so therefore I have to do it. And so I started probably like 4 days a week, but then shortly after that, I was up to like 6 days a week, running every single day, at least 10 kilometers or 1 hour every single day, and most days fasted. And I got really skinny, and of course people started noticing. I got really angry when one friend called me like, oh, you're borderline anorexic, because in my mind I was not. And I don't know if I was or if I wasn't. I was never diagnosed with anything like that. And just to say, like, my BMI, by the way, was never low. It was always within that normal range, which shows that what the ranges are is not the truth always, right? Your body may still be very severely undernourished, even though your BMI is within the normal range. So don't look at the numbers, see how your body is working. And my body was not working well. So I had lost so much weight. I was really skinny. I was running a lot. And I was starting to get a lot of issues. Like, I couldn't sleep anymore too well, and my periods went away, and I was just generally exhausted. I had no sex drive. I was really young, I was 21, 22, and I was like, what is going on? But also, I want to be skinny. I want to keep going, because I worked so hard for it. I'm just going to keep going. And so I did. And it lasted for maybe up until I was 27. I was still running so much, and I maintained that weight pretty much. But I also had started binging occasionally. So at first it started like every month. I had like a massive binge when I ate so much chocolate, so much candy, so many cookies, all that kind of stuff. And then because I was so full of that sweet stuff that I had just eaten, I went and add something like salty, savory, crunchy to kind of balance that out. And then you kind of reset your palate, and then you want the sweet stuff again. It was a nightmare. So first it was maybe like every month, and then it became more frequent every other week or so. And I was still, really obsessed with the scale at that time. And eventually I didn't want to get on the scale anymore, because the binges started to get so frequent that I didn't want to see the number go up. And so this is how I actually stopped weighing myself. But the mindset was still there. I was really obsessed with everything, and just running like crazy. Didn't listen to anybody who tried to tell me that this is crazy, and just wanted to do my own thing. And of course, I lost a lot of fat when I ran so much, but looking back, what I didn't realize at all back then was I also lost so much muscle. And knowing what I know now is that losing muscle is the worst thing you can do, because you want to hold on to it, because this is your tissue of your health and energy and vitality. So there definitely should have been some strength training also, not just so much cardio, because it's so depleting. I was just running myself into the ground. It was so bad. But like I said, I never believed when somebody mentioned anything or commented that, hey, maybe you should back off. And so I just kept going like that. And then over time, I stopped running as much. I also found CrossFit at one point, and I did a lot of high intensity training at one point. But the idea was same. I was still eating relatively low calories. I didn't always track, but there were periods of time when I just ate super strict super strict paleo, which meant that there's no grains or no dairy or anything in there. And without even planning to do so, I was eating low carb, probably not as low carb as many people are eating now, because I still had some fruit, but I didn't have any grains or dairy or that. And then I also did like a juice cleanse somewhere between there. And then I tried some fasting, which, knowing where my hormones were at the time, completely flatlined, was not ideal for me. So you don't want to do fasting when you even don't have your period. Absolutely not, right? So this is how things went for me. I was completely obsessed with the scale, completely obsessed with my workout structure, and I was really tired. My hormones were non-existent, and I was not feeling great. So I want to finish this episode here, and in the next episode I'm going to share with you what the turning point was, what kind of got the things moving in the opposite direction, how I came out of this really chronically overtrained, underfed state, and what happened next. So if you are interested in it, then stay tuned. The next episode will be soon available. But in the meantime, let me know. You can reach out to me on Instagram, or you can also leave a comment on my blog. Let me know if this story resonates with you at all. Have you ever been that really obsessed person who's been so far in one extreme where she just does so much training and eats so little that the body just starts protesting? So let me know if this is you. I hope you haven't had this experience, but who knows? And I will see you again next time. Bye bye.